Stop. Before using any equipment, sanitize and air dry your surfaces and wash hands and put on gloves. This is the Hamilton Beach food processor. It can be used to chop, slice, and shred vegetables. It can also puree small batches of sauces and dressings. The food processor contains many attachments. There is a bowl to process the food, a shred and slice disc, a blade to chop or puree the food, a base with options to shred and slice, puree and mix, pulse to chop or to turn the food processor off, and there is a lid that attaches on both sides with two pushers inside of the lid. Make sure the food processor is turned off before plugging it in. To assemble the food processor, put the bowl on the base, add the desired blade, and put the lid on, latching it down on both sides to ensure that it is secure. Then, put the pusher in the lid. As a safety feature, the processor will not start unless the pusher is in. As a safety precaution, always use the pusher to insert food, not your hands or fingers, so you don't get injured or cut yourself. To break down the food processor, first unplug it, remove the lid, remove the blade, remove the bowl, and then remove the food. To clean the food processor, wipe down the base, and then wash, rinse, and sanitize all the attachments. You can wear cut gloves to prevent cutting yourself on the blade. Don't forget to wash the inside of the blade because food might get stuck inside of it. After the attachments have completely dried, lay all parts out on a baking sheet and store in the designated area. Make sure to store the blade and disc inside the processor bowl so that the next user doesn't cut themselves. This is the Robot Coupe MP350 Turbo Immersion Blender. It is an excellent way of pureeing and blending large batches of soups, sauces, and stocks. It allows you to leave the full quantity of the liquid in the pot and mix it all at once. To operate, insert the blade in the stick and turn it clockwise to lock it in place. Then plug it in. The immersion blender has a safety feature for turning it on. For it to start working, you have to press both of these buttons at the same time. Once the blender is on, you can release the bigger button. As a safety precaution, don't grab the blender from the stick. Place your hand above the rubber protection disc. Also, when the immersion blender is on, turn it in a clockwise motion to better blend the food. After you finish using the unit, run the unit in a container with soap for 30 seconds, then rinse the unit in a container with water at 70 degrees Fahrenheit or hotter for 30 seconds. Finally, sanitize the unit by submerging it in a container with sanitizer solution. Once this cleaning process is done, release the on button and unplug the blender. If there are some visible food particles, detach the blade from the top in a clockwise motion and repeat the cleaning process in the 3-compartment sink. Wait for it to completely air dry before storing it in its designated area. This is the Mini Pro Immersion Blender. It is used to puree and blend soups, sauces, stocks, dressings, and batters, but in small batches, up to 3 gallons. This blender also allows you to leave the quantity of the liquid in the pot and mix it all at once. To operate the blender, attach the blade to the body by turning it counterclockwise if you are standing behind the blender as shown. As a safety precaution, do not try to run the blender if the blade is not submerged in the liquid. As you see, this mini blender doesn't have a safety switch. To turn on, simply press and keep pressing the on button. To better blend or puree the liquid, manually turn the blender in a circular clockwise motion. After you finish using the unit, run the unit in a container with soap water for 30 seconds, then rinse the unit in a container with water at 70 degrees Fahrenheit or hotter for 30 seconds. Finally, sanitize the unit by submerging it in a container with sanitizer solution. Once this cleaning process is done, release the on button and unplug the blender. If there are some visible food particles, detach the blade from the body and repeat the cleaning process in the 3-compartment sink. Wait for it to completely dry before storing it in its designated area.